Good afternoon, evening, wherever you are. Welcome to The Last Rites once again. And please do drop us a sub if you would be so wonderfully kind. Today we are going to talk about a politician being taken out of the old game. Anne Widdecombe, a 78-year-old lady, was... she's been like a right-wing conservative politician, and then I think she joined Reform after she retired. Media personality. Basically a woman of conviction, of faith. Said some things that upset a few people, but she has been killed possibly by someone that lives in Rotherham, but we'll see a bit more about that in a minute. At home in this beautiful area of Haytor, near down in Devon, which I don't spend a lot of time down in Devon. I'll have to go down to Cornwall soon, funnily enough, but probably won't be able to find the house again now, but it's fairly distinctive. Anyway, at home, is that it there? There we go, fairly distinctive. You've got the pool, zero security at home. She refused security and a security gate and all that. Quite a peaceful little village, and someone apparently drove quite a way. First of all, they think it was Wednesday lunchtime-ish, just after she did this interview here. So literally minutes after finished this interview, she was approached at home and seemingly bludgeoned, but we can't speculate too much on details. Let's have a look here. Yeah, so they originally arrested one local guy in a town down the road. Turns out he was probably a delivery driver. It's not fully confirmed. And then a couple of days later they arrested this guy who, as I said, drove potentially 4 hours and 13 minutes on a good day. It's probably nearer 5 hours. So he left home early in the morning, would have got there about this time. And he's seen by neighbours' CCTV getting into a car with a big stick in his pocket, possibly a rounder's bat or a pole or some other sort of bludgeoning device. And he has been arrested by counter-terror police. And there was a lot of whinging and whining about police coming out and saying there's no evidence of political or terrorist motives at this time, but the investigation only just started and they hadn't found this guy yet. You've got to find him, you've got to through his devices, you've got to search his house. Look, probably politically motivated, right? You would think. But counter-terrorist police, who are pictured here arresting him, have taken over. And there are rumours of extremist communist literature somewhere in his house or on his devices, whatever. But anyway, counter-terrorism police are leading the investigation. Is this where we are in the society, guys? Are we gonna... So she was quite outspoken, right? But apparently was also very nice to people that she disagreed with. And is it what you want to be in as a society, though? Do you want to be like bludgeoning older women? Do you want to be bludgeoning old women when you disagree with them? Now, there's also some other rumours. Again, none of it can really be substantiated yet. That might come out later. Shouldn't really speculate on details of the crime, really, because there'll be a court case. But there are some other sort of neighbours have said to journalists and stuff that he's either a bit slow, as in some learning difficulties, or he's got some mental health problems, or a mixture of both. Very reclusive. But whatever. I mean, he could have been, I guess, recruited to do something like this, vulnerable man, or he's just got a personal thing. It could be anything, right? If he's got some mental health issues, it could be literally anything. It might not even be overly political. It could be like, listen, I once bumped into her in a supermarket when I was on holiday in Devon. She didn't say hello back. And he held that for many years. But high chances of it being something, some sort of... they're also investigating whether or not he had a list of other sort of reform politicians on his person, but who knows? None of that's really come out yet, so there's still a bit of speculation around it. But yeah, so that happened. Obviously, counter-terrorism police are running it. Do we want, like, I think it's the third politician in 10 years as a Labour politician, Joe Cox. David Amos from the Conservatives was stabbed, and then poor Anne bludgeoned to death in her own home. And we don't know if it is quick, right? There were these WhatsApp messages with a producer because she was going to go and do another TV interview. And at 12:19, the WhatsApp messages are left sort of unread after that. And just having a quick beer, because it is England v Argentina tonight, all right? And then she sort of doesn't reply to anything else, which is very unusual. And it would have taken him about 4 or 5 hours to get down. The timing would be perfect. Assuming also she's got CCTV at home, we think. And the police probably have seen that. They're not releasing that at this stage, obviously. So don't know. There's scenes from inside a conservatory, from outside, and the front door and all that. So it obviously was in the house. It wasn't in the drive or anything, because you would have seen there was like an evidence vehicle here. A drone or something went round and filmed in there, so going to be within the house. She was probably wearing that outfit, which is kind of weird when you see the interview, right? It would have been literally minutes after this, unless she put on some sort of chicken outfit in the middle, which is unlikely. So yeah, there are some people lying and go, well, she said some offensive thing, and as far as we can say, a lot of these really extreme things she didn't actually say. But do you also want to live in a society where someone says something that you either disagree with or you fundamentally find offensive, and you'll go to her house and bludgeon her to death? It's like insane, literal insane behaviour. So I'm sure all of any of those people that are thinking that, right, I'm sure all of your grandparents or parents have said some wild stuff in their time, wild things. And it just takes one fairly overweight man booby, potentially learning difficulty man with a baseball bat, and it's game over apparently. So yeah, obviously quite an interesting little thing that happened this week. R.I.P. Anna, I'd say. Didn't know her, obviously. She reminds me of like an ex's grandmother for some reason. Kind of like well spoken and eccentric. But yeah, anyway, a horrendous end, which is going to cause a lot of problems, right? Because you absolutely will have to have way more security. She wasn't even a politician anymore. She was kind of speaking for the party. So if you were to protect all the politicians, that's at least like £100 million, I reckon, to do that. And all these auxiliary people as well. It's going to be a lot. Some of it will have to be triaged, obviously, but you just don't know. You don't know what... Someone's going to be sat at home going, I'm going to go after this guy. No one touches Count Binface on my watch. But there we go. I'm sweating. It's England versus Argentina. That was a fairly horrendous crime, wasn't it? It makes you think of your mum or your nan. That's what it makes me think of anyway. It's like, oh... It's not a way to go out, is it? You sort of survive, presumably, quite a lot. You're 78. You've been born, what, in the... Similar to my mum's age, so like... Or my dad's age, so late 40s. You've post-war, all the nonsense in the 50s. Perhaps she took a load of acid in the 60s. Who knows? A load of acid. Perhaps she was into punk in the 70s. Don't think so. I think she was a nerd. Maybe she got into like post-punk and the Jam or the Smiths. Glam rock. Right? The 90s. The hedonistness of the 90s. 9/11. Iraq. You know, all these historical things. What else historical happened? What was that? Jimmy Savile. She lived through Jimmy Savile from the 40s, and she survived all this way and was about to see England in the semi-final versus the Argentinians, and then just snuffed out at home. I hope it was quick, because with a stick, like if it's a beating, she's old. It could have been slow as well. Oh God, I don't like to think about it. I think it's just reminding me of my mother or my grandma, I suppose. I called her Nan, not Grandma. I don't know why I said it, and she's dead. But it's kind of like, oh, especially when you see this, and she was literally on a Zoom call or whatever for some TV company, and then minutes later, not great. If you're high profile, especially if you have any sort of controversial opinions, get some security, even if it's like, get your own big stick or something. And it is weird, right? If this TV interview would have been 30 minutes later, it would have happened kind of on air, probably. I mean, did she leave a door open? A lot of people around there do. The guy could have just got in. It doesn't look like particularly high security, right? Could have been one of those on camera things. Would have been wild. But then maybe you can call the police. I don't think she was found for a day till the next day. So there's also, should people have phoned and all that stuff. Anyway, that was a not an upper one. But do drop a sub. I will be doing much more on some darker things as we go forward. But I thought, I wanted to say something about this, and it mainly was, listen, even if you didn't like her, What if it was your nan and she said something a bit off colour down the supermarket? Don't bludgeon her to death, I guess is what I'm saying. Anyway, drop a sub. I will see you later. It's England versus Argentina, and a quick change of subject. There's a quick beer. In 90 minutes, I'm going to go to the pub. All right, see you later. That's completely irrelevant. Let me know what you think. Subscribe.